Hello everyone. Before explaining my activities, let me a few seconds to introduce myself. My name is Pablo and I'm 30 years old. I became a teacher 3 years ago and I'm very interested in learning languages. For the reason I'm doing this course. Now I'm going to explain the two activities that I have designed. I'm going to explain the first activity that I have designed, and I have designed it for the first course of ESO. The purpose of it is to relate the contents of arithmetics, mainly fractions, decimal numbers, and percentages, and the students have to connect and to join them by a game. Okay, and on top of that, they are going to use the terminology of these units. So they have to express well the the description or the reading of the numbers. For example, with fractions, 1/3, or with decimals, 1.42. So, or they have to use this terminology that we have learned in the previous units. So I'm going to show in the video the material that I have prepared to carry out the activity. So look at it a moment, because with this it's easier to explain the activity. You have noticed it is a game. I have adapted the dominoes, the common dominoes, to create a mathematical dominoes. So we are going to treat some contents, some mathematical contents, using a game, a common game. So one of the difficulties of this activity is to create this material for the first time, because well, I have created as the example these mathematical dominoes, and after that I have cut the pieces to put in a more resistant material, like for example wood, because the students are going to use the pieces. So with paper it must be difficult, so it's better to prepare them in a more resistant material. So I think that is an innovative activity, because they are going to learn, they are going to use what they have learned, to use the terminology of these units using a game. So for me the best thing to learn is to play, and on top of that are they are students that have just arrived from the schools. They have just entered the high school, so it's a transition course. They are very used to using practical methodologies, to using games. So I think that this is a perfect activity for these students, for this kind of students. So I think that is innovative because of that, because it's a different way to work and a different way to learn. So the structure is very simple, because I'm going to divide the class, all the students, all the group, in different groups with 4 members. So I have prepared different mathematical dominoes in order to give each group a different one. So they are going to use different games. They are going to compete each other. So I'm going to make a competition among the students. I think that if I create a competition, they are more motivating, and they are going to play more seriously. But the objective is to learn, not only to play. So the structure is that, and finally, with different dominoes, they are going to treat the contents in different ways. And well, as I have said, I think that it is very important to create activities like that. So, mm, apart from treating the contents, they are going to use the terms because I have to alert to be alert and to correct them because the objective is not only to relate the contents and is not only but to use these terms. So I think that is perfect for the students, and I have checked the results because it's an activity that I have done before, and I think it's a very positive activity. For this second activity, I'm going to use information and communication technologies that nowadays are very important and very useful for the society. And I think it's a very good complement for education because they can make some contents be easier to simulate, and then they can show some contents in a better way. So I think that we should use them every day in our classrooms. The purpose of the activity is to apply the knowledges of geometry that the students have with an application, and what is more, they are going to use the terminology, the accurate terminology of the units studied, as for example measurement units, kilometer or square meter, and geometry shapes and their elements, square, triangle, diagonals, and height, for example. The students will be given a file made with the application, made previously with the application, and what they have to do is to delimit the different geometrical figures that the file have, and to decompose them in a simple geometry shapes. After that, they have to measure the edges that they need to apply the different formulas to get the area and the perimeter, because the main operation that they have to do is to get the area and the perimeter of the whole figure. So I made previously different figures in order them to apply the context and to decompose all the figures. We only need computers to do the activity, so the only difficulty that we can have is if the high school doesn't have enough computers for all the students. Apart from that, the application is very easy to use. So as a basic or medium user, you can do a lot of things with it. So I'm sure that the students aren't going to have any problem because, well, they use applications every day and it's very easy and very basic to use. So and what is more, the application is totally free, so you can download perfectly from internet, and if you install it on your computer you can use it offline. So I think it's a perfect mathematical application to use in the classroom. And for example, I have done this activity, this course, and the results are very good because to use technology for them is very motivating. So I think that we should implement our activities with any application or with any tool, informatical tool, to develop well the activities. And I think it's a very innovative activity, not only because they use computers and application, but also because they are going to develop autonomy, their autonomy, because to decompose a geometric figure is not an close activity, so there isn't any close explanation for each figure. So they are free to decompose the figure in the way that they think is better, and they are going to measure the edges that they need, the elements that they need. So I think that is a very good activity to develop the autonomy that, in my opinion, is one of the basic competences that each student should have.